This is my first interview. So welcome to my little interview with Stephanie. I'm Suzanne and I'll be your host, and I am the Rescue Dog Ranger, and we're here to celebrate my book coming out, available for pre-orders now on my website, and being launched at the end of July. Exciting times.
It's very exciting.
So I've got Stephanie to come and chat to us, and Stephanie is the holistic dog groomer. Woo!
Yep. Thank you, Suzanne. I was one of the lucky ones to read your kind of draft before you sent it out to the editors. Is that right? So I was very excited to read about it because obviously you're just up the road from me. And you're very much holistic like me as well, so it's really cool to meet someone like-minded. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, so I'm very excited.
Because we've met actually just through lockdown Facebook stuff, haven't we? Like, we've not actually met in person, but just through the whole lockdown of changing and how we interact and go about stuff. That's how we've actually got to know each other, isn't it?
And it's so bad, isn't it? Because I think lockdown's really highlighted how antisocial people are. And you can have people that are so alike, just and less than an hour away, and you don't have any idea they exist. It's crazy, but I suppose there's silver linings to everything, and that is certainly one of the silver linings, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I think we're going to arrange to meet up at some point and grab a wee coffee when we finally can.
I know. Sit inside somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And I love Edinburgh, so it's an excuse.
So do you want to just explain a little bit about what it is that you do and what makes you a holistic dog groomer?
Yep. So, I started off 2 years ago. I attended my 30-day intensive training, which opened my eyes to basically the gap in the market, so to speak. So most groomers are kind of trained to concentrate on your breed standard trims, and how to get your angulation right and your symmetry. And there was not much talk about behaviour and body language and these sort of things. So that was kind of the seed that was planted, so to speak.
Yeah.
So as soon as I went into my own business, that was the first thing I wanted to concentrate on. So I was learning a little bit more about the dog as an entirety and how everything impacts everything else. So being a holistic dog groomer basically just means that you're kind of taking into consideration anything and everything that could have a kind of impact on the dog, which in turn will make your job more difficult when you're obviously trying to groom them. So it is this kind of an unfamiliar term because it is kind of misinterpreted amongst all the kind of industries. So having people regard it as just a product-based service is kind of only part of what it is, and so it's more to do with how you go about approaching the lifestyle, the environment, your approach, even the last 48 hours of the dog's life prior to coming into the grooming room is significant. So it's a really, really thorough service, and one that should be kind of more outspoken about. Hopefully we'll raise awareness of that though.
My business is Edinburgh Holistic Dogs, and it's like, and it is holistic because of like exactly what you say. I take into account the entirety of dog. It's not, I'm not just taking them for a walk and they're not just being misbehaved on that walk, or and I think the name has actually drawn people to me because they're like, well, what does that mean? I just want a dog walker, and but it is like. It's managing and understanding the entire dog and what they don't like and what they love, and what their lifestyle is like. I work a lot with rescue dogs, obviously, and a lot of the time I've had quite a few dogs being referred to me from other dog walkers because they've been difficult, but really it's just understanding that the what is causing their behavior, and it's something as simple as they actually don't like big fluffy dogs, or they don't like flat-faced dogs, or
they don't like a slip lead or something, you know?
something like that. Or it's just like really looking at the dog, because the dogs tell you everything from their body language, and that's what I really love. And that's how you know they do tell you what's wrong and why they're annoyed with you. But a lot of people just don't acknowledge that.
Yeah, because they don't know they have to, really. I think only recently as well it's starting to become more of a kind of spoken out thing. Like, dogs are sentient, and they do experience a lot of emotions that we feel. So it's kind of our duty of care now to have ourselves educated in that department so that we're providing the best service. And that's the kind of message I'm trying to enforce through what I'm doing, is that it's no longer something that's a luxury. It should be kind of imprinted into the training structure of every kind of dog care industry, or sector, should I say. So it is, I mean, anything at all. And it's also to do with educating the owners as well. And I love how you tapped into that in your book, because it's not just about providing support with the dogs, it's about supporting the owner as well at home, and showing them what they can do to help, you know, this transition. So yeah, if you're looking for some guidance in that as well, guys, definitely buy the book, because I mean, you do it right. So everything you see on that, I'm like, yes. But yeah, no, it's totally about kind of supporting the owners, because I think a lot of the time a lot of groomers or a lot of kind of professionals like to pass the blame on. When you know, and it's again, it's good that we're talking, because it's another topic I'm going to tap on in my own group, working together with other like-minded professionals, so that every aspect of the dog's care are all kind of synchronized. So as a groomer, I'd be reaching out to the likes of you, because you're obviously you share the same ethos as me. So if I were to have a dog that I knew needed kind of training, then I would be recommending that owner to you, because I know that you're kind of synchronized with my ethos. So it's like giving that kind of package, and that's where holistic comes into it.
I mean, because like I have Old English sheepdogs myself, and I brought up with them, and I know how to groom them. Like, my mum and dad show the Old English, so I've learned how to groom dogs for sure. And like, that's not how I handle my dogs. My dogs are scruffy much compared to the show dogs. So I've never ever had to use a groomer, but the idea of having to use a groomer actually freaks me out, because I have seen has been like a lot more like, you know, it's like trying to fit a dog into a box. Like, this is how we're doing it, and you're going to stand here, and I think that's really, like, I've never ever recommended a groomer, because I don't know of any that I would be happy to recommend, I suppose. Like, and it is such a big thing about the, you know, dogs' lives, and so many people like I obviously have been brought up with my dog, so I've gone out of my way to learn how to groom them. And that has been a big issue, because like Flash, my second dog, and the logo of my company, he wouldn't be brushed when I got him, and I really had to start from the very, like, I had to shave him, or my mum did. I had to just hold him, and then I had to learn with him, like, in a way. And you know, and it's a big responsibility having a dog that does require grooming, and then, you know, you putting that dog into the care of someone else if you can't do it yourself for whatever reasons. And and so I guess, you know, how would you go about making sure the groomer that you've picked or you've selected is the right groomer for your dog?
Yeah, I think the best thing you can do is really, I think every groomer should be advertising a kind of meet and treat service first of all, and I do think that's a crucial and fundamental part of the process. So I usually offer the meet and treat as a kind of complimentary service. It's a no obligation appointment, but it's giving that owner the chance to kind of look at the environment they're in. I think, you know, first impressions are a big thing. If you're looking at the environment and it looks clean, and it feels good, the dog looks quite, you know, relaxed. There's not, you know, I don't know, like cages and crates all piled on top of one another, which is kind of common. you know, it's a one dog policy, you know, everything's calm and relaxed. And obviously if you can tell by talking to a person as well how experienced they are and how well, you know, equipped they are to handle kind of difficult dogs. I think there's a lot of emphasis on qualifications in the grooming industry, although it's not regulated. So
Yeah.
I'm not qualified as a dog groomer.
I'm not
That's a story for
qualified
a
as a
different
dog
day.
trainer. Like it's, you know, you can only judge yourself and hold yourself to your
Yeah,
own standards, and those
yeah,
standards that you're happy to put out to every you know, Joe blogs out on the street. And I'm
yeah.
really open about how I work, and you are too.
Yeah,
um
yeah, yeah.
and
I would
you know,
never say I was qualified. I mean, I did my 30-day intensive, and then I had my exam and I failed it, and I published that I failed it. But I failed it for the right reasons,
yeah,
because, you know, I wasn't happy with. I did it in my own salon, so it was a dog I was really familiar with. It was an elderly dog. I didn't want to put it in. I didn't want to put her in restraints because she didn't need them, so I got points off for that.
oh my gosh,
Yeah, I don't like taking too much off dogs' nails anyway. I think less is more with that, because I would much prefer to kind of come back another day and do a wee bit more than to kind of chance cutting the quick, because then
yeah,
that's just a whole different ball game, and it's going to give them some sort of emotional and physical trauma. So that was my justification for it. But I got points off for that. So, you know, in the end, I had like 6 points away from my pass, and it was all to do with my holistic approach, basically. So I was quite proud that I failed, even though it was
yeah,
£1,000 down the drain. But I do think the qualification side of things, there's too much emphasis on it right now, because the curriculum has to change first.
yeah,
And I'll be really proud to pass a qualification once that's changed, and once there's more emphasis on the handling aspect of a dog. So I would be looking at asking the groomer, you know, how do you handle difficult dogs? Like, what makes you, you know, feel competent in doing that? And kind of get to the roots of where they're going with that kind of approach.
yeah,
But it's all to do with, I mean, just taking it with your gut feeling, I suppose.
yeah,
At the end of the day, I'm quite happy to have an owner sit the first time, you know, just to see how it is and what it is exactly I do different. A lot of my guardians actually really appreciate that service, because they get
yeah.
to see, and they appreciate you so much more for it as well, because they're like, oh my gosh, there's so much to it. So yeah, it's kind of having a wee bit of common sense as well, but obviously good referrals and things is kind of what you're looking for. You don't want obviously a really bad trim either, but usually, or most groomers have Facebook now anyway and have loads of photos up, so you can tell they're kind of standard of cuts anyways.
Yeah.
But I do think that the approach is far more important than the breed standard trim.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my advice there.
And so like one of the things I come across with working with the rescue dogs is, you know,
Yeah.
quite a lot of coming from abroad, and they've got you know, they've had a completely wildly different start to life, from either being on the street or being in like massive dog kennels, you know, with lots of dogs. And you know, coming here in general is just a complete shock to the system, and moving to another country and moving in with new owners, and everything's just, you know, it can be really, really stressful. In fact, it is really stressful. There's no can be about it. And a lot of that plays out in how the dog approaches life. So how would you handle a dog who is, you know, really nervous and, you know, isn't used to being handled as much by humans, and isn't used to the idea of being groomed, even washed for that matter?
It's one of those things as well, because a lot of these rescue dogs are coming in terrible conditions as well,
Yeah.
aren't they? You know, I've got a Romanian rescue that actually came to me the other day there, and he's kind of thick with mats. And you think there's a debate amongst groomers there that, you know, okay, these dogs need a lot of work in terms of to get them adapt to the grooming process, but at the same time, this is a welfare case we're talking about, and the mats really need to go. In those instances, I would always say and it's not ideal, I'm going to put that out there, I'm probably going to get backlash for this, but in extreme circumstances, when it comes to welfare cases, I would always say to go to the vets and get a sedation, first of all, and get the dog clipped off completely. And it means then it's giving, you know, us the chance to really work with the dog. And then what we would be doing is kind of shorter kind of introduction sessions kind of desensitizing them to the process of all the different sounds and objects, and we're not on a time schedule then, because the dog's obviously got no mats or anything, so there's no worries there.
I mean,
so
that
it's
sounds
working.
like, yeah, because I mean, like going back to when I got Flash, like he was shaved because he had mats and wouldn't be groomed. He was one, and you know, and that gave us the opportunity to, or me the opportunity to start again with him without like putting him through the stress of mat removal, because even if you are clipping it off, it's not a simple process, is it?
Oh my gosh, don't get me started on it. So there's so many people out there that think, you know, oh, it shouldn't take you long at all because it's just a clip off, and a lot of groomers think it's such an easy process, and I'm always confused with that, because it actually takes me longer to shave off a matted coat, because you don't know what's underneath. That's the issue. So there could be all sorts of abrasions, skin infections or whatever, but it's also trying to obviously differentiate between the skin and the mat, which is really difficult. So I mean, you need a lot of time and patience, and then you're also working with a dog that's extremely uncomfortable, you know, and a lot of pain as well. So probably has a lot of bruising underneath the skin. So for me, don't even get me started. Honestly, I could rant about that all night. But that's the thing as well. It's better for the dog to be, you know, to avoid having to come to the groomer for that initial clip off, because it's a painful experience, and it's a really long and lengthy one, especially if they're not good at being handled. So I always say, you know, a trip to the vets, it's just one time, and then, you know, by the time that the dog's coat's grown back in again, then he should be kind of more accepting of the actual process. Acceptive, is that word?
And because even while his hair is growing back, you know, you've got the owners that can get used to the idea that the dog is going to be brushed with, you know, using the right equipment, even though there's no hair to brush and there's no knots to get rid of, but still getting the dog used to the sensation of
and things as well. And a lot of people think as well that desensitization is, but you know, it's the outlook that if a dog's frightened of the bath, just shove the dog in the bath and that's it, desensitizing it, eventually they'll just accept it. And it's like, oh, honestly, like, and I always say, like, it's like an arachnophobic, you know, if you're scared of spiders and you get shoved in a bath and you're restrained in a bath and in a tub full of spiders, is it going to intensify the fear? Is it going to cure the fear? It's going to intensify the fear. And what then happens, you're going to scream, you're going to shout, you're going to resist, and then your body's going to shut down. And that's what a lot of groomers think is consent. Oh, the dog's calm and whatever. No, he's just shut down. And it's, you know, it's knowing the difference, and it takes time. And I think you mentioned that in your book as well about time, taking your time with things. And it's so crucial, and especially in holistic care, to take your time. And every dog is individual. And I remember reading that as well, and I was like, yes, this girl gets it. Every dog is individual. So you have to take it.
There's no like there's no set timeline when it comes to training dogs, living with dogs, grooming dogs, anything with dog, you know, especially one you're bringing new into your home. Like I think I say in my book, like Eric spent 6 months sleeping in my bathroom before he acclimatized to being, you know, with me. He wasn't unhappy, just that was him. And but then Nora, who came to live with me, she was my third dog, and she just slotted in like she'd always been there. So there's never any like timeline and anything. And I think it's a shame when people assume, you know, owners get worried because they think, oh, my dog's not as good as the dog next door, or
it's a lot of labeling going on.
And it's not, you know, every dog's in their own race to get, as long as your dog's happy and healthy, it doesn't matter how long it takes them to get used to a groom or used to having a bath. You know, there's ways and means around it.
And it will, and as long as you persevere with it, and it is an element of owners doing the homework at home. I think there's many owners out there that are not willing to work with us, and you know, and it's in those sad cases, and you have to say, well, you know, it's not the service for you then. But it's just trying to obviously give them that little bit of faith that if you persevere, then you will come out of it in the end. So. And it is, and it's a lovely journey, because once you make that breakthrough, it's amazing. You feel so good about yourself, and you see the dog, you know, flourish, and it's a magical process if you just believe in it. So I definitely do think that, you know, holistic care and the kind of pet industry is going to take the world by storm. It's definitely the way forward. I do think there's a lot of exciting things in the pipeline as well. So yeah, now's the time to kind of get on board with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we're pioneers.
I don't know if you could hear that. That's like sirens going.
Yeah.
I live on a main road, so and the windows are shut. Fortunately for me, but like it's too warm in this flat.
Yeah.
Sirens. What was I gonna say then? Oh God, my brain's gone left.
I know. Don't even get me started. I seen your little animation thing. What was it? Your wee character that you published earlier.
Sotos.
So tell us about him.
So he is one of the dogs I actually walk, and I've been walking him for 18 months apparently, and I don't think it's that long, but his mum was telling me that the other week. So Sotos came to me because a few other dog walkers had refused to walk him, or the dog walker he had at the time was struggling, because Sotos kicks off if he sees another dog when he's on the lead. And yeah, he hates puppies, he hates Labrador. This is what I was told.
I remember reading about this now. Yeah.
Hates puppies, hates Labradors, hates dogs. And yeah, so to me that was fine. Like there's no aggression there. He's from Cyprus. He was a street dog, and he'd come from a big kennel as well. So he'd not had the best of interactions, and he's only little. He's a little lad, and big personality, and sassy attitude.
Yeah.
And so he comes out on walks with me 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week. Straight onto my group adventures, because I knew he was going to be fine. And what it is, it's come from his lack of socialization as a puppy in his early, like that's where he's like, you could tell it was excitement more than it was like, I'm gonna kill you. It was like
he just doesn't know doggy etiquette really.
And over time, like he's gotten used to me, and we've shown him that it's fine to look at dogs, we just can't bark at them, and he gets a lot of praise for that, and he gets praise for interacting with other dogs in a nice way. The trouble with him is that he barks when he wants to play, and that's where a lot of the confusion comes from, and it's kind of like a really like attitude kind of like and it's not his playing, and his body language says that, but his voice comes across as not. So quite a lot of other people are like, oh God, and when then really he's totally fine. Like he shuts up as soon as he gets closer to a dog, and then you can get him away, and he's fine. And I was walking him yesterday, and we walked past 2 puppies like within seconds of each other, and he just looked at them, and I was expecting him to kick off. I was like, it's gonna do it, it's gonna embarrass me. And he didn't. He was like, I was like, yeah, well done, woo, and throwing them the treats, and he was like, yeah, I've done it.
That's not so bad actually. And that's the breakthroughs I'm talking about though, isn't it? And it feels so good.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get us wrong, he tests my patience some days.
Gives you a few more grey hairs.
Yeah, some more grey hairs underneath the bleach. He's like he's so funny, and he just chats and chats and chats, and I'm like, shut up, nobody cares. Like I mean that in the nicest way possible. Like
I know, gosh.
Like that's how I tell the dogs off, is I tell them to shh, but in my Mary Poppins voice. But yeah, he's a great little soul, and his parents have done so well with him. Like he's totally he's a lot more relaxed these days, and he does meet other dogs, and I don't have to worry, except for if he meets a pug. He loves a pug and will try to hump a pug, but other than that, he's fine.
Yeah, and nobody can be perfect. That's, I
No.
think, what's the problem. I think everyone aspires to be perfect and
Oh,
expects perfect, and
yeah.
it's not realistic. But
No, there's literally no such thing as a perfect dog.
no,
And you know, my dog training I call my dog training practically perfect, because I am not perfect. I don't expect my dogs to be perfect, and I don't think any dog's perfect. They might have
yeah,
strengths, but they've also got weaknesses. Like,
yeah,
and I think like Flash is the example I use in my book. Like, he could do a recall flawless every time, but ask him to do a retrieve, not a chance in hell. He'd go and get the ball, he just won't bring it back.
yeah.
So
I actually read that about your practically perfect protocol, was it?
yeah,
Yeah, because I like that, because I like having like that step by step. I mean, your
yeah.
books really helped me actually, because I've got 4 dogs, and honestly, I have no idea what, it was just ignorance for, to be honest. I've got 2 Tibetan Mastiffs, and I've
Oh, I
got
just want to meet them.
a miniature Dachshund and a miniature poodle. The miniature Dachshund's the boss. She's a terror. In fact, I probably could use your help with her.
Yeah,
And,
they're notoriously like
oh, so
willful.
sassy.
Yeah,
Yeah, just so sassy. And she's like, just like the dog you were talking about there, she barks to get attention, and it sounds aggressive because people don't understand that, obviously what she's trying to say, but she just wants to be petted really and to play.
yeah.
But all of them are different. But I like the whole kind of step-by-step process that you do, because it does break it down better. And it's a fantastic PDF, by the way, as well. So maybe you should have it just printed out and, as a separate PDF for your dog clients, the owners, because it's fabulous. I really could benefit from reading that a couple of times. If you can walk mine any day.
Oh, I'd say I love a big dog, and like the hairier, the
No.
bigger the better.
Oh, I wasn't a groomer when I got them. So I used to take mine to the groomers every month. That was kind of how it all started for me. I used to brush my dogs every night, and I've got quite bad anxiety, depression. So it's my way to calm down at the end of a day. I would brush my dogs. And I
Yeah,
remember saying to my husband, if only I could do this for a living.
yeah.
And my husband was like, duh. He's like, you can. We take the dogs to the groomers every month. And I was like, something? Oh my gosh, I could. So that's what I did. I mean, I was a disc jockey before that. So
Really?
yeah. And having 2 kids as well, it was just so unrealistic, because I wasn't, spending weekends with them. I was practically in my bed all the time.
Yeah.
Because I was working really late nights. So it was actually really, really good. It was kind of natural transition for me. And the benefits as well is that, I've stopped taking my medication. I mean,
Oh,
16
that's
years
really
of
good.
medication. Well, I'm not saying that I'm not advertising it or people to
No.
do it, obviously, but I mean, for me, working with dogs, it's that bounce back. I give to them and they give back to me, and
Yeah,
2 years of no medications, unbelievable. So
I mean, like,
yeah,
I was a fashion designer before this, and I got made redundant, which is how I ended up becoming a dog walker. And it
right,
was because it's the only time I was going to set up my own business.
yeah.
And I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome
For goodness sake.
just before I was made redundant. And oh, it's massively improved ever since I started working with dogs.
Yeah,
And I do suffer from
and
depression
you're a
as
dog
well, and
walker.
it's yeah,
No,
that's the
so
other thing. Like,
that's significant, isn't it? That
yeah, and like just general aches and pains are a lot better now. I
uh,
suffered from a bad back for years, and then changing to, well, dog walking's obviously helped, but just working with dogs is
yeah, no,
massively,
definitely
yeah.
is.
I mean, and that's the reason why quite a lot of people do get
Mm.
dogs, isn't it? Because it's this nice,
Exactly, it's the benefits of it. Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
it's
that's
been proven. It's not just in people's heads. It is scientifically proven. It releases serotonin and oxytocin and
yeah,
reduces cortisol, and it's a fantastic way to kind of keep your well-being intact. And that's
yeah,
another aspect of the holistic care
yeah,
side of things, because as holistic professionals as well, we're thinking about our own well-being, not only the dog's well-being.
yeah,
So it's a mirroring kind of bounce back service.
yeah.
It's
And
really fascinating.
I know, like, that's the reason I got my first dog, was because I'd gone through like a really bad period in my life. Like I'd gotten really
Same.
depressed and down, and then I was able to adopt Mabel, she was called, and she was 6. And she was my little saving grace. She moved with me to Edinburgh from where I was previously living, and like if I didn't have her, I probably would have like really struggled. But
I'm sure it's a massive topic. I'm sure like everyone that's watching this will have something to say about that as well, because it's massive. It really is. I don't think there's any owner out there that could say that their dog or their pet even doesn't benefit them in some way.
Exactly.
In that. So we owe it to them to provide the best possible service, don't we?
Yes.
That's how we justify it. So I think a lot of the concern, with a lot of people is with obviously this kind of premium service, there's a premium like pricing aspect. And it's trying to obviously explain to people that, short term, if you think short term, then maybe it will be a little bit more expensive initially, because there'll be obviously more appointments required to obviously build up that resilience. But in the long term, you're going to have a well-rounded, and you're going to save money in, trips to the vets for sedation, for example, or, in the long term, we're looking at the bigger picture, because everything about holistic is the bigger picture. So
exactly.
It's like I'm doing the YMCA here, isn't it?
You know, since I've started doing Zooms and stuff, I've had to stop speaking with my hands, because normally my hands are out of shot, and I'm like, I need to just keep them still.
I know, it's so hard. Like, I'm dead fidgety, especially when you know that you're getting recorded as well. You're kind of paranoid, aren't you? Oh gosh. Anyway, how's our time anyway? We did say 30 minutes, didn't we?
So I think we're coming up on 30 minutes. I can't see.
That's good. I think we've covered kind of most things.
Yeah, we covered quite a lot. General chit chats. I'll come and do your podcast now, so we can talk about
I know.
anything.
I've got my own pod. I'll show you. Try and turn it around. It's a Yeti, I think it's called. It's a Yeti. Can you see it? It's
cool, yes. Yeah. Scary.
So that's why I'm wearing these headphones, guys. I'm not like silly. I'm just trying out the year, I'll probably never do it. I'm kind of hoping to set up an online course. I'm wanting to use this for voiceovers and things. So you can let me know how it sounds. In fact, I'll hear it once it's published anyway, how it sounds.
Well, it's sounding good to me.
Well, that's good. That's good.
So just quickly then, going back to the book, what would you say your biggest takeaways or key takeaway has been looking at the book?
Probably that you're not expecting perfection, and you shouldn't expect for kind of results overnight. So I mean, I get quite paranoid with my dogs, because obviously there's 4 of them, and I'm in the industry as well. I kind of feel like people are kind of looking at me as if to say, you should have like perfectly behaved dogs, and it's having that realization that maybe dogs aren't perfect, and it is a work in progress. And as long as you kind of take them individually, which is ironic, isn't it? Because I should know this, because I do it in grooming every day. But I think when it's like a different kind of sector, you're kind of questioning your own kind of expertise in it. So it was that reinforcement, probably, I think, when I was reading, obviously you're holistic as well, and it's seeing that actually, no, I'm on the right track here. And it's not actually that different to dog grooming. It's just taking it in stages and using that step-by-step process to kind of tackle your kind of issues. No, I thoroughly enjoyed your book.
Good.
I genuinely did. And I liked how kind of brutally honest you were as well, and kind of how funny it was. I mean, I felt like I knew you already, actually, after reading it, because it was very it was good, because you're being honest about things as well, how you've obviously learned as you've went. Because dogs are like lessons, aren't they, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's like funny that you say you think your dog should be perfect. I know for a fact my dogs aren't perfect, and I actually will tell people, even people I'm teaching in class, no, my dogs are like, Eric took forever to learn how to do it down, and he can show me, he will raid picnics, like I can't, like if I let him get away with it. So it's like my dogs aren't perfect.
But practically perfect is clever wording. Practically perfect.
Degrees of what you should expect from your dogs, and sometimes they'll be amazing. Eric's a therapy dog, so he's brilliant at meeting people.
Yeah.
It's just really rubbish at avoiding or ignoring food smells when we're out and
Well, that's
about.
it,
So
isn't it? And
yeah,
it's about playing to the dog's strengths, isn't it? I like
yeah,
that as well. No, I do think that everybody should read your book. Definitely should.
yay,
So, and I'm not being biased because we didn't know each other out with that, which is
no,
really cool, like as we're talking about. So it's just lovely to kind of have met somebody close by that's really, really kind of like-minded. So
yeah,
yay,
definitely.
I'm excited for you. And you can edit mine if you want, or no, proofread it once my book's out.
Yeah, yeah. Although we know my spelling and grammar is ridiculous, which has all been
Well,
corrected now. It's all been
but you know,
corrected.
honestly, when you're typing and typing and typing, it's so
Yeah.
hard. Even like me, like there's a saying, you can't edit your own book, and it's so true. I mean, I edit books. I used to edit all kind of business books. So it was SEO and things like that I used to do for. And it's fine, but see, as soon as you start kind of working on yours, it's like, because your eyes aren't fresh to it,
Yeah.
and you know what you want to say, you're not really critiquing it, right?
Yeah.
So no, there wasn't that many mistakes in it.
So if anybody wants to find out more about you and what where you are and everything, where is the best place for people to go? So
You're probably best contact me on Facebook or on my website. So if you can look up the Holistic Dog Groomer, you'll probably find me on top of there. Or if you want to visit the website, it would be www.stephaniezikman.coach. Or you can look up if you're looking for your dog to be pampered, then look up Scrub a Dug Dug. But I'll put a wee link or something underneath this video so people can find me. A lot of people know about me now anyway, so I don't know if it's for the right reasons, but I think it is. So yeah, it's quite controversial, isn't it? Holistic dog grooming.
Yeah, it's like I know people just like to be like, but you're like, no,
I know.
it means
and anyone and everyone can do it, and everyone should aspire to do it in their service, because it's, if anything, it's just enhancing the service and it's enhancing your education. So you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's a no-brainer. But yeah, shall we end it there then?
Yeah, before we get
because keep talking and ranting about it. Yeah.
Well, that's been fabulous. Thank you very much for joining
you're
me.
very welcome.
This is my first interview, folks, even though I'm not actually sure when I'm putting it live. So it's gone very good. I'm happy.
I think so. Bye.